Parks and Recreation Division of Hagerstown presents Building City Park, a 6-part video series chronicling the history and evolution of the historic Hagerstown City Park, from its origins to today, in honor of the 100th anniversary of City Park Lake. Part 2, A Colonial Legacy, featuring the Jonathan Hager House Museum. Did you know that the land that makes up Hagerstown City Park has a history dating back to the pre-colonial era and was connected to town founder Jonathan Hager? The land's history dates back even further to prehistoric times, thousands of years ago, but more recently it was part of the property known as Hager's Fancy, purchased by Jonathan Hager in 1739. Many suspect one of the benefits of building on Hager's Fancy was the abundance of natural springs and water sources located throughout the land, 2 of which located in the cellar level of his limestone home. Jonathan Hager lived on the property with his young wife Elizabeth for a short period before he sold the property in 1745 to Jacob Rohr. It remained in their family for a few generations before Rohr's grandson, Frederick, sold the property in 1813 to his relatives, the Hammonds. It continued to be passed down through the generations to the Hammond and Armstrong families. Eventually, the tract's ownership changed to the West End Improvement Company in 1890, created by the family's descendants. By the mid to late 19th century, the house became a rental property and the land used for other purposes than farming. The initial purchase of City Park land, known as Armstrong Tract, included nearly 50 acres located to the south and east of the railroad tracks. On the north side of the park, on the other side of the railroad track along Key Street, another project came underway: the purchase and restoration of the founder's first home, known as the Jonathan Hager House. Located on a triangular tract of land, roughly 9.5 acres in size, sits the oldest known home in Hagerstown. Officially purchased in 1944 by the Washington County Historical Society and the City of Hagerstown, the goal was to expand the park and honor the history of the City of Hagerstown and its founder. During the early 1950s, the Historical Society focused on restoring and preserving the historic limestone house while accumulating artifacts and 18th century furniture to furnish the museum. Then the house was deeded to the City of Hagerstown in 1954 to be used exclusively for park purposes. An early conceptual idea for this new triangular addition to City Park was called the Colonial Annex, replicating architectural styles of the 1700s. There was a push to begin this project in time for the city's bicentennial celebrations in 1962. One building was constructed in a nearly identical limestone 2-story style adjacent to the historic structure. The lower level became an artifact museum to display and store thousands of items uncovered on-site during the house's restoration, and a small apartment intended for a caretaker to live on the 2nd story. The Colonial Annex plan was reimagined in the late 1980s when the museum curator John Nelson and city park planners conceptualized the Colonial Farm, or a homestead, for the property. Today, the grounds feature a colonial-style kitchen garden and edible plants, including a plum tree and grapevine. Hager's Fancy comes back to life with living history every year during City Park Fall Fest, featuring 18th century reenactors and demonstrators wearing authentic colonial clothing, helping visitors imagine what life was like prior to the American Revolution. The museum and park are listed on the National Register of Historic Places and have expanded their outdoor interpretive exhibits to help tell the story of Jonathan Hager and Washington County, with signage that is available year-round, anytime, for curious visitors. Walk along the Founders Trail for a peek into what you can learn at the Jonathan Hager House Museum. Overall, the entire northern section of the park has remained mostly undeveloped to reflect the natural landscape of the frontiers of western Maryland. One exception along Walnut Street is the new Vietnam War monument, prominently displayed for passing visitors. Walk through the park or bike ride along the designated paths of City Park and explore the newly created Arboretum near Marsh Run. Experience a slower pace of life and enjoy the natural beauty and landscapes found in historic City Park. To learn more about the 100th anniversary celebration, you can visit our website at hagerstownmd.org/citypark100 for event updates, future videos, or to submit your own family photos of historic Hagerstown City Park. And you can also follow us on our Facebook page at Hagerstown Parks and Recreation.